Anyway, but now the model that Apple is going to implement, where you swipe your iPhone to pay rather than using an actual card, is that the future for payments in this country?
Well, I think the way I would think about it is some of these ideas have been around for years, and some very successful companies have tried to attack this problem. I think there's really two issues. One is, for most people in the United States, paying with your credit card is not a big deal. However, there are many, many interesting applications, and why now has Apple been able to pull it all together and make it work? And I think two things. One, the security environment's changed. People are a lot more sensitive about this.
Presumably, this is a more secure way of doing it.
This is definitely a more secure way of paying.
Yep.
The second thing has to do with the very complicated and arcane aspects of the payment system, but that matter a lot in mobile payments. And I think what Apple was able to do is cut through all that, use their marketing power, their consumer reputation, and obviously their ability to put together very technologically compelling products. Pulling that together, pulling the ecosystem together, enabled them to get something done that no one else has been able to do.
You mentioned no one else has been able to do this, and it's especially unique that Apple has been able to wedge itself into the revenue mix that typically the merchant and the issuers and the banks all shared that per transaction. But Max, I'm wondering if you are seeing Apple being one of the only players that's actually able to negotiate successfully to get a piece of that revenue. What does it say about Apple's clout and the fear that potentially the banks and the credit card issuers are harboring against some of these new technologies?
So thanks for having me. I think it's a great question. I think we've seen Apple's future. I don't know if we've seen the future. And what we've seen from the likes of Swipe and Square and some others, many of whom are probably a bit disadvantaged by this, probably much more Square than Swipe, to be fair, is that Apple has now insinuated itself into the mix with a payment app native to its operating system. That's going to be bad for the standalone payment apps, many of whom have entered the fray, as you point out, getting a little bit of economics, but it's been a bolt-on addition that either the merchant or the consumer bears the incremental cost or they share it. Here, the incremental cost is very small. There's an incremental increase in convenience as well, much ballyhooed in the Apple rollout. The question is, whose economics does it come out of? And have we just seen the future for Apple, or have we seen the future for mobile payments? And I think it's just too early to tell.